Today we're going to be taking a look at the new updates to Fujifilm's cameras, lenses, and their software, including one that I'm very excited about. Let's do this. Hi everyone and welcome to Pal to Tech. This week Fujifilm released a brand new round of firmware and software updates. First, they updated 5 different camera models. Next, 2 lenses received updates, the new 56 f1.2 lens, and also everybody's favorite zoom, the 18 to 55mm. It's an interesting update, and more on this in a little bit. And lastly, 3 separate Fujifilm programs have been updated, including their Webcam app with nostalgic negative. First, let's start with the cameras. There are new firmware updates for the XH2S, XH2, XT4, XT3, and XS10. Now, the XT4, XT3, and XS10 all received the same update. First, a bunch of changes have been made to the camera's menu system to address the new lenses that have a zoom button and a zoom focus control ring built into them. For example, the new 18 to 120mm lens has this. I tested it out last month and will be soon making a special video going into this lens in far more detail. But regarding today's firmware update, Fujifilm has created a new menu area right here, where you can access, program, and control the zoom button and zoom focus control ring on these type of lenses. Not only that, but you can also set up a touchscreen setting to allow you to touch the screen to control the zoom of the lens, adjust the speed, and function as a rocker switch. This all sounds pretty interesting, and I will be testing out all of these features and showing them to you in more detail very soon. Now, in addition, that area where you used to have focus ring and focus ring operation items inside the button dial setting, those have all been moved now into this new lens zoom focus setting menu as well. Basically, think of this update as Fujifilm creating a brand new section dedicated entirely to lens zoom and focus settings and putting that inside the button dial setting. Okay, so next, they've enhanced the exposure adjustment function for the image movie preview by optimizing parameters for the exposure control when the XF 150 to 600mm lens is used. I have no idea what I just said or what that means, but hey, it sounds interesting. And finally, they added the AF+MF function to video shooting. I'm actually kind of excited about this one. Okay, so if you're in stills mode and you set your camera to AF+MF and you turn that on, if you have your camera's autofocus set to AFS, you can lock autofocus by half pressing down the shutter release button. But then you can rotate the lens's focus ring and make fine-tuned adjustments. Okay, so now I'm going to half press down the shutter release button. Here I go. Boom. Now, if I go to rotate the focus ring, I'm still half pressing the shutter release, and I'm rotating the focus ring, and I can fine-tune my focus. Most of the time, you're going to want to use this feature with Focus Check. Go into your AF+MF section of your menu and turn Focus Check on. Now, let's try it again. I'm going to go ahead and half press down the shutter release to acquire focus, and I'm going to slightly rotate the focus ring on the lens. Watch this. Boom. See, and you can fine tune it just like that to get your shot. Now, what's so cool about this firmware update today is that this feature has now been brought into video shooting. I'm going to go ahead and switch the dial to movie mode. When you first apply the firmware update, you will notice in the movie menu under AF+MF, there they are right here. AF+MF, go ahead and turn that on. Focus check, make sure that that's on. Okay, I'm rolling. I'm gonna half press down the shutter. Okay, I've acquired focus and I'm still shooting. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and rotate the focus ring on the lens just slightly. Here we go. Look at that! While I'm shooting, I can adjust this. Now, something to be careful about regarding this firmware update. If you're actually shooting video, right, and you rotate the focus ring just a little bit and you've kind of zoomed in, you get your focus, and you want to get back out, yes, you could half press the shutter button to kind of reset it back out for the normal view, but you run the risk of accidentally pressing down on the shutter button a little too hard and stopping your video recording. What I strongly recommend you do is once you have zoomed in and you're ready to get the display back out to the normal view, simply press the rear command dial. That is much safer than having to half press down the shutter release button and possibly stop your filming. Now, regarding firmware updates for the XH2 and XH2S cameras, the XH2 received mostly bug fixes with some performance improvements in tethering mode. Now for the X-H2S, there were some important bug fixes, and I will leave a link down below to full details of each of them. These include fixes to flash sync issues, camera freezes, and fixes for the preview image for the 18 to 120mm lens. Now feature-wise, this update adds more integration with the file transfer grip, such as image transfer, tethering over wireless and wired LAN, FTP publishing, and operating multiple cameras via a computer's browser. Now let's talk about the lenses. The new 56mm f1.2 had a small bug fix for interval timer shooting. However, the 18 to 55mm zoom, the kit lens that basically many Fujifilm users know very well and use very often, received the following update. Resolution of the still image has been improved at using the mechanical shutter or E front curtain shutter in on the specific conditions. So how do you improve resolution of an image via a firmware update? This is an interesting one, and I wish that Fujifilm would give more details about it. I can only assume that this would have something to do with the OIS mechanism on the lens itself, since they do mention mechanical shutter specifically, or perhaps how it interacts with the IBIS mechanism on cameras like the X-T4. So I guess my biggest question is this a bug fix or a feature improvement? Honestly, I don't know. What do you think? And lastly, we come to Fujifilm's software, specifically RAW Studio, Aquire, and Fujifilm's X Webcam 2. Now for RAW Studio and Aquire, they both basically received support for the X-H2 camera. Nothing much else than that. However, the Fujifilm X Webcam software did receive the nostalgic negative film simulation. I do have to mention though that will only work if you connect a Fuji camera that supports nostalgic negative. It won't work, unfortunately, with the X-T4, X-T3, and so forth. I do wish they would add nostalgic negative to earlier cameras like the X-T4. That would be so awesome. It's one of my all-time favorite film simulations. As always, if you only have one camera that you're using professionally and you rely on that to put food on the table, you might want to wait a few weeks just to see if there's any update issues that crop up first. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching, and I really hope you found the video helpful or at least entertaining. And if you did, be sure to give it the like and subscribe. I'm going to be signing off now, but have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you in a new video next week. Take care.